Greetings viewer, today I give you my initial thoughts and impressions on the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent. 6.23 miles at roughly 7 minutes 30 seconds per mile pace, 25 degrees centigrade. Seriously hot, too hot for running. I left it as late as I could during the day, but I really wanted to get out in the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent to give you my initial thoughts and opinions. So this is Nike's next roll of the dice in terms of the Vaporfly series. You had the original Vaporfly in 2017, the Vaporfly Flyknit edition in 2018, and now this Vaporweave Upper Vaporfly Next Percent. Both on foot and aesthetically, there are a number of differences here. So without further ado, let's get started. So first up is the fit and feel of the shoe. This shoe feels much more comfortable around the arch, the toes and the heel area. There's a lower drop on this shoe than the last iteration of the Vaporfly. This has an 8mm drop and you can feel it as you start running. As soon as I set out, I could feel the difference in the shoe. Bizarrely, it felt very reminiscent of the Terracotta 5. That's got a 4mm drop and I felt really at home actually running in the Vaporfly Next Percent. The Terracotta 5 and the Vaporfly Next Percent, very different shoes, but they did have a very similar feeling there in terms of the drop. So blisteringly hot temperatures over here in the UK at the moment. It's got really hot very quickly. I waited till later in the day. It got to about 25 degrees or something like that. I really wanted to get out in the shoes, so I was very excited. So I decided to go out. It wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still, I pushed myself as hard as I could in those temperatures, but I was really on a hiding to nothing. I managed to get a couple of splits at around 7 minutes 13, something like that, but I was baking hot and it wasn't really the time to push below that. I was going to start endangering myself, so I wasn't going to do that, but I really wanted to get out and give you my initial thoughts on the shoe. I think that in any other shoe, I wouldn't have got anywhere near even those times today. So a testament to the Vaporfly Next Percent. They did enable me at least to go slightly faster than I would have done in these temperatures. So in terms of the feel of the shoe, this has a brand new upper material. It's called Vaporweave. It's highlighted here just on the inside of the shoe. It's incredibly light and very breathable. When I first started to put the shoe on, I was kind of touching the materials, see how they felt. It felt very plasticky, and I was really quite worried initially. That kind of plasticky feel made me think, well, is this thing going to breathe at all? I've heard lots of reports that it's really great in terms of breathability and expelling water out of the shoe. It won't hold that water in. And I can confirm it is fantastic in terms of breathability. In those very hot temperatures today, my feet felt really great. In fact, I barely even thought about them. I was just kind of concentrating on breathing, running along and trying to complete the run. They did feel really, really great. I didn't get hot in any way. My feet were really the last of my worries. So this new offset lacing system, need to talk about that in a little detail. It did take me a little longer to kind of figure out this lacing system. It is quite different. As you can see, it's offset to the side of the shoe. It looks really interesting, very sort of futuristic, space age, and kind of odd when you first look at it. It took a little longer to get laced up into the shoe than normal, but I think once you've got the hang of it, it won't be a problem. As per the Pegasus Turbo 2, the tongue, it took a little time to iron out sort of any creases and move it into the correct place. But once it was there, I felt no problems with it on the run. It didn't move around, it didn't slip, it just stayed exactly where I'd left it. I really felt with this shoe that I didn't need an awful lot of tension across my forefoot with the laces. It only took one attempt really to get the tension just right, and I really couldn't feel any pressure really over the top of my foot. Certainly the bones in your foot seem to be able to, or at least the bones in the top of your foot seem to be able to move around. They've got lots of space there. So this new lacing system certainly gets the thumbs up from me. The strange sensation that I used to sometimes feel in the arch section of the Vaporfly 4% is gone here in this new iteration of the shoe. I really didn't feel any issues there. The shoe feels maybe a little wider. It's certainly wider in the toe box area, but I felt that it was perhaps wider in the arch area as well, which leads me to believe that Nike are trying to market this shoe to a much broader range of people. The shoe feels true to size to me. I'm a UK size 11. I have been in almost every other shoe that I've purchased recently, apart from some Solomon shoes. But certainly I would go true to size with the Nike Vaporfly Next %. I experienced no pain, rubbing, blistering, nothing. Straight out of the box with this shoe. I would say it's certainly a premium product. It has that premium feel. You get some extra sort of what I call case candy. If you're a guitar guy, you'll know what I'm on about. But there was some case candy in there. They give you this fantastic bag to place your running shoes in. Really nice little addition. Really made me feel like I had a premium product on my hands. I think those of you with a wider foot who are perhaps put off from the last iteration of the Vaporfly, the Flyknit version, you don't need to worry in this instance. You have got a much wider shoe here, and it could well work for you if it didn't before. One big thing I found on my running route today was that the Nike Vaporfly Next % takes cornering much better. It just takes corners, those sharp changes in direction, way better than the previous iteration. At times with the Vaporfly 4% Flyknit, I really did feel quite in danger really in the heel section here. That if I was going to take a turn too quickly, I was just going to kind of topple off. There's not really an awful lot of structure in the back of the heel here. That feels quite different in this shoe. There's a much more pronounced, I wouldn't say thicker, but a much stiffer heel counter. And I don't know what they've done to the back of the shoe, but it feels way more supportive. Not just the heel really either. The whole shoe, it feels more supportive. It feels more stable. Bizarrely, you even feel less elevated than in the Vaporfly 4% Flyknit. I know there's more Zoom X underfoot in the Next %, but you just feel more stable. You don't feel like you're going to topple over anywhere near as much. That aside though, the shoe really does feel like a ginormous trampoline. It is ridiculously fun to run in. You do feel a huge amount of propulsion. Even in those temperatures last night, I really did want to try and push it. It just felt great fun. So with all that extra Zoom X foam underneath your feet, I really felt great this morning, even after the run. My legs are absolutely fine, calves, my glutes, everything. I feel really good. I don't feel like I went running yesterday at any considerable pace. Although you may say to me, well, Ed, you didn't really hit that higher pace. but I really couldn't. It was just the temperatures there were really, really not conducive to running at any great speed. So next up, I'd like to discuss the midsole and the outsole in a little more detail. So you may have noticed from some of the pictures online, some of the other videos around, that the Next Percent has quite a considerable curve upwards here at the very forefoot area. It's really quite pronounced. Of course, you've got the carbon fiber plate in there. It's quite stiff. It's way more pronounced than on the original version and the Vaporfly 4% Flyknit. This curve section really helps in terms of push off as you kind of land. If you're sort of a mid-foot lander, I kind of land around here sometimes, as a few of you have pointed out, sometimes a little further back. Depends very much how tired I am. Hey, I'm a non-elite runner. I'm not in any way an elite runner. I want to make that very clear. I go out, I do what I can do. I race for myself. I'm not trying to race against other people. That aside, I've got some decent times under my belt, but I try to aim around about here in terms of where I'm striking. And I've really felt some great push off from this shoe. It's a very exhilarating shoe to run in. That's an observation of mine on the outsole here. This kind of rubber section, it always reminds me a little bit of like a deer's hoof. I don't know why. It's just the shape, there's something about it. It just reminds me kind of like some type of animal. I'm not sure. But maybe you've had that same observation. Certainly this rubber area here, absolutely amazing. It really is. It's a little thicker than on the Vaporfly 4% Flyknit. It really is great. It's got these kind of stretched grooves here. And I felt really great traction going around those corners. I think that was also part of the improvement in stability. It really does feel like it. You're gripping the ground a hell of a lot better. So a real improvement over the last iteration. That increased amount of ZoomX across the midsole really does help with stability in that heel area as well. I'd suggest that Nike have really hit the spot in terms of the lacing systems and the tongue on their new iterations of their shoes. They really, really do work very well, and I feel they're almost really invisible while running. You just don't feel them, which I think is a massive improvement. I think you'll all agree with me that this shoe is certainly aesthetically very original and futuristic looking. There's nothing really out there on the market quite like this. That kind of outsole traction area here. These pieces here, the rubber pieces at the back, which certainly I'm really pleased they've introduced, because this is where most of the wear occurred on my Vaporfly 4% Flyknit. You know, the colorway is incredibly visible. I have to say, I really think it's fantastic, the colorway. It really does stand out. It certainly makes a statement. Let's just hope that I can live up to that statement. So this is a shoe I'm certainly going to be holding back a little bit for races, maybe some higher tempo work. It's a very expensive shoe, so I'm not going to baby it, or I'm not going to kind of wrap it in cotton wool and bubble wrap. I'm certainly going to save it for premium sort of races where I'm on road or pavements. I'm not sure I'm going to utilize it too much on anything other than that. And I'm sure you can understand the reasons why. That aside, I am going to take it out for another 10-mile test session. So once that's done, I'll give you some more of my thoughts and opinions. Please post up some of your comments and questions about the shoe. I'll be really, really pleased to see them, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can in a forthcoming video. I hope you've enjoyed my initial thoughts and opinions on the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent. I'm placing up content as often as I possibly can, giving you the updates on my shoes, my honest opinions. It would mean a lot to me if you consider subscribing to the channel. That's all from me for today. Thanks for watching. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you.